Steve Worrall with Outdoors First. We're going to talk a little bit about how to set up a slip bobber rig. Now, slip bobber fishing is really effective in both shallow and deep water. One of the cool things about it is with a slip bobber, you can have almost no line between the bobber and your presentation, whether it's a hook or a jig. So it's real easy to cast, even if you're trying to get the jig done like 6-7 feet or more. So you can cast it, and the slip bobber will carry it out, and the weight of the presentation, whether it's a jig or a plain hook with a split shot, will pull that line through the slip bobber until it hits the bobber stop. What's a bobber stop? Well, this bobber stop is made by Rod and Bob's. It's on a slotted tube, so it's really easy to get the tube off. You slide the line through it, bring it up a ways so that it is easy to get that tie off. And this is a knotted piece of line. What you're going to do is pull that off the tube carefully. Take the tube and don't throw that in the lake. Put it in your tackle box, put it in the recyclables later. All you got to do then is grab a hold of the two ends of that line and pull it down tight. Get it good and tight. Then trim the knot. Now don't cut it off so it's real close to the line. Leave a little bit. That'll go through the guides just fine. It's real soft material. Here's your bobber stop. Again, don't throw that stuff in the lake. This slides up and down the line. So this is 6-pound test Berkeley Trilene. It slides up and down the line. Now, slip bobbers. There's quite a few on the market today. This particular one is a tackle beacon, and this one comes with a bobber stop and the bead and everything you need. Bead on the line, slide that up to the stop. Then, this particular bobber's got a grommet on the top, so it rides on the line real well. Slide that line through the grommet, out the business end, and you're set to put your presentation on. This will be a big crappie or walleye presentation, even spotted bass, white bass, and other species that you want to fish for using a bobber. This particular jig is a slow poke. It's made by Bait Rigs Tackle, and we're going to throw this on there and just throw a quick straight fisherman's knot 6 times around. Through the end, pull it tight. Trim it. Alright, that's a slip bobber rig. Now, what's going to happen is you're going to cast this out, and the line's going to go down, and watch the bobber. See what happens to the stop? That's what's going to happen in the water too, and it's going to go like this. If you're using a light hook, what you'll need to do is weight it with split shot. So if you tie just a plain hook on there, it's not going to be heavy enough to pull a line through the slip bobber, and it's also not going to stand that slip bobber up. So what you'll do is add additional weight in the form of split shots, and the best kind of the removable, so you can get them on and off real easy. You can finger pinch them on the line. And what you'll do is balance it with enough split shot and get it up away from your presentation, about like that, I'd say. Okay, so that it's not right there, so the fish isn't looking at the split shot and your jig or your bare hook. And weight it up so that when you set that in the water, your bobber floats upright like this, just like this. You'll want the water about, right about in there someplace, so that if the fish hits it, you'll see it right away. The bobber will kind of jiggle a little bit. There's a lot of other different types of bobbers. This one's a fill. It's weighted. You can see that lead weight on the bottom of that. That actually straightens the bobber up, so it's weighted. And you can then put this through, the line through here, run it through, and put almost any presentation on there, and the bobber will float upright, but you still have to have enough weight to pull that line down through that little hole in the end of the bobber. This is an unweighted bobber, basically the same concept. Okay, But now you're going to have even more weight to straighten it out. But there's different sizes, so you can adjust your bobber size to the size of the presentation you're using. A cool feature that's on some of the bobbers out there these days are night lights. This particular bobber is set up to be used after dark, which is why it's called a beacon. Simply install that, turn the light on by just pressing down on it. So that's off, that's on. It'll glow for hours. Reassemble your bobber. Got an O-ring stop in there. And you're all set for night fishing. A new slip bobber product that's out there is by Rod & Bob's. It's called the Revolution X. Now what's really cool about this bobber is the dual line slot. It has two slots, one's fixed and the other slips. The bottom slot, towards the base of the bobber, is a slip bobber. So you put that on, slides down to the jig, easy casting or to your presentation, and when the presentation goes down, goes up to the bobber stop, and there you are. Let's say you decide that you're going to fish fairly shallow and you want a fixed bobber. All you got to do is pop it off of that slot, put it in the second slot, set your depth, and there you are. Two bobbers in one. Slip bobber, stationary bobber.